What's good, YouTube? It's your boy Leo coming to you guys with another video. I wanted to do something different for you guys today, so I decided I wanted to. I know for those who watch me a lot on YouTube, you guys see me do a lot of videos for wrestling, but I want to do something different, right? So in today's video, I will be ranking all the Scream movies from from worst to best, and the tiers that you see are GOAT, which is the best of out of all of them. You have good. There were some things that I didn't like, but they were good, watchable. Mid, they were in the middle, right? There were some things that you liked, and there were some things you didn't like. Bad, I mean, it was at least watchable, I would say. And doesn't hit, that means it was just straight garbage. So the first one on this list, we're gonna go backwards, right? We're gonna go backwards. So the first one is Scream 4. Now, I didn't like this one. Now, I will say, I will give it this. It was the gore in the movie was very good compared to like some of the the ones we got before it. So I will give it that. Some of the characters I didn't like too much, mainly Charlie as being one of the Ghostface killers. It was pretty boring. There was nothing really to it. He was more of like the accomplice, if anything, compared to like Emma Roberts. So, well, actually, Jill Roberts. So, compared to her, she was one of the better ones. So, I feel like for him to be doing all the work, he was more just like the muscle, but she was more like the brains in the whole scheme of things. So, but overall, I wouldn't say this is the worst. It's not the worst, but it's not good either. So, I will say there are some things I liked about it. So, I'm going to put it at mid. Comment down below, what would you rank your Scream movies? And we can have a discussion about it in the comment section down below. So, the next movie we have is Scream 2. Now, one of the things that I remember about this is we had two killers in this one. We had, let me get his name right. Let me make sure. It was Timothy Olyphant. That's his real name. But Mickey, he was one of my favorite Ghostface killers out of all of them. Like, it's like his motive really stands out. Like, he wanted to get caught. He wanted to go to try and blame the movies for his actions. So I like that motive. And then I also remember, like, they killed off Randy. And that was a major blow for a lot of people who were fans of him, right? It was a major blow. And I was a huge fan of him, especially with his dialogue. And I feel like that's one of the things we need to get. Is like a character that's kind of, that gives us like that. I know we got it in Scream 5, but like, it was like missing that in like Scream 3 and Scream 4 to an extent, if that makes sense. But this movie, I would definitely say it was kind of lacking. The killers was, one of them was good, the other one was not. She kind of brought it down a little bit. They kind of did get a little bit better in the movie because they kind of pushed her into like that main role behind Sydney and whatnot. So I would say this one would have to be good. This one was good. It wasn't the best, but it was at least watchable for me. Now we have the original Scream, the original one. This one, I don't have to say too. Even though I will, but come on, it's GOAT tier. It's like this was like literally one of my favorite horror movies of all time. The whole, out of all the horror movie, villains, this was kind of like one of my favorite ones. And this was, if you guys don't know, here's a fun fact. This was one of my first horror movies that I actually watched. Especially with Kevin Williamson and Wes Craven, they kind of brought especially Kevin Williamson had a lot of movies that he did, like Scream, I Know What You Did Last Summer. Like, those are just some of the ones that come to mind. But Scream is just a different vibe, if you get what I'm saying. Now, and let me talk about Scream just a little bit more, the original one. The characters were great. It gave us an introduction to who these characters were. It gave us a little backstory to an extent. You had two of the best killers out of all the ones that we've had. And I will definitely say this. We had Stu, who was one of our favorite characters. He was like it's like he had two different sides. He had that funny side, but when it was time to go and time to get some work done to kill somebody, he was down to go. Billy, he was more of like one of the type of people that you kind of already suspected. I feel like that's one thing I will say about the Scream movies. We need a little bit more unpredictability into who's the killers and how they're perceived throughout the movie leading up to them being unmasked. I feel like that's what we need. We need to dive into that a little bit more, like when Scream 6 comes out in March of next year. I feel like we need that in the upcoming films, starting with Scream 6. We need to have the type of characters like where you wouldn't expect them, but they kind of throw you off here and there, but they don't really make it too predictable. We need unpredictability. Now, I'm not saying everything should be unpredictable, but I'm just saying when it comes to the killers, I feel like it needs to be predictable. Scream 3, I'm going to be honest, I wouldn't say I loved it like out of the water. It was cool. It just I feel like they took a step back with Scream 3. They made it seem more comedic, like, and whatnot. I'm just gonna be completely honest. This is gonna go to doesn't hit. Now, I'm not saying it's the worst movie. I'm not saying that. Well, it is in my opinion, but I just feel like they took a step back and made it more comedic and whatnot. I like the fact that they brought the main three characters back, and then you had some new. The setting of it being in like a studio and whatnot, being part of Stab. I like that concept, but other than that, I didn't like it. Now, the final one and the newest one of the series, Scream 5. Well, I'm gonna call it Scream 5, but it's Scream 2022, even though it's originally called Scream. This one I would definitely have to put right up there with Scream 2, with the original Scream. I like this one. I feel like the gore was there. I felt like, I'm glad they brought back the characters back. I feel like they kind of took it into a different direction, and I'm liking the direction things are going in. One thing I will say about it, it was kind of crazy that they had to kill off Dewey. He was one of my favorite characters in the series of Scream. So I'm not. Well, I mean, maybe we'll have him like in a flashback or something, kind of how like they did with Billy in this film. I definitely can see them trying to play that role. They really started with he was one of my favorite characters. I feel like out of all these movies that we've had with Dewey in it, this was probably by far his best work yet. Completely honest. They kind of had him go down this path of like going, him losing everything, being stabbed so many times. And then the commentary with the twins, mainly Mindy. She really killed it in her role and basically giving us the female version of Randy. I loved it. It gave us a new insight to a different perspective from a girl's mind. I loved it. I definitely feel like they really outdone themselves. I didn't think we would get this high up on the list. I didn't think this Scream would outdo the original, which is pretty okay to me. I feel like none of these are gonna probably outdo the first one, because it is what it is. But this one I can definitely say came up very close to beating the original one. Now, where they take the Scream 6 coming out next year is up in the air. We're still kind of figuring things out as the weeks go on, with characters, the plot, and whatnot being given to us and showed to us as time passes. But that is the end of this video. Like, comment, subscribe to the channel if you are new. I will be doing more videos, horror movie wise, in the future, so be on the lookout for that. Also, leave a comment down below, and where would you rank these Scream movies from worst to best, and explain to me why you would say that, and we'll have a discussion about it. But that is the end of this video. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.